Korean is quickly increasing in popular, in a tongue-learning boomers managed by the popular of the nation's pop stars. A wish to find out the lyric of K-pop Traffic Love Gangnam Styling has forced the Korean tongue's popular blow up in countries love the US, Canada, Thailand and Malaysia. A paper by the Contemporary Tongue Associate shows how Korean understanding in U.S. universities rose by nearly 14% among 2013 and 2016, time common tongue registration was in decrease. The newest statistic shows 14,000 students are training Korean in the U.S., compared to just 163 too many decades over. The tongue training website Duolingo started up a Korean recent year since of growing consumer demand. It rapidly brought more than rather than 200,000 school students. Professor Andre Schmid has seen a fast growth at the College of Toronto, wherever he researches Korean story. While the college entered a Korean grade 10 year back, it had 30 students. Present it has 150 and though much longer wait listing. It has seen such increases in the numbers student Korean story. Professor Schmid says the has been managed by the popular of Korean pop piece of music and AMD, and notes how the web has driven the K-pop mania to the largest sudden places. Amongst my students I include a youthful female who grew up in an in-isolation farmer building in Grayshire, Ontario, but she chose the College of Toronto since she requested to find out all on Korea, says Professor Schmid. How would never include happened 15 years back. The event is switched by the growth of YouTube, such a how who love her can include accessing to these culture means in such a remotely places, he says. The wavelength of popular for southward Korean civilization is named as Hallyu. It began to distribution external of Korea in the 1990s or, present, K-pop bands like BTS sail out stadia and top piece of music charts about the planet. It has been so common how a UN aid agent uses K-pop as a talk starter motor in a draft that connects youthful refugees of the Medium East in West students above Skype. The Korean tongue is though start to changing the way overseas K-pop fans say. A examination of K-pop followers in Algeria found how largest had begun with Korean speech and phrases in their everyday talk. The southward Korean by the government is capitalizing on its culture holdings by installation up 130 tongue institutes in 50 countries. Recent year, the by the government underfunded a new institution for Korean teaching at George Washington College in the U.S. The kind of center may draw human beings who are concerned in Korea since of pop civilization at first, but they can as well subject such students to some components of Korean teaching, consisting policy, trading, story, and more than, says Gina Gibson of the US-based Believe the Korea Economical Institution. But K-pop fans should be aware how training Korean is far of lightweight. A U.S. country learning agent on overseas sphere ranks Korean as one of the tough languages for British home speakers. Ji Hyun Garden fled Polar Korea and now lives in Manchester in the UK, wherever she teaches British for the learning facility Talker. Various languages are utilized to say to adults and family, speech love, hi and good night are various depending on if you are talk to a kid or an age, she says. She says accent is especially hard for British speakers, and how the lyrics sung by K-pop stars can embarrass learners since they mix Korean and British along. Ji Hyun has noted an growth in the popular of Korean civilization in the UK. While Gangnam Styling was famous, my son was a adolescent in top high school and said me how his friends were all sing it although they didn't know which the speech intended, she told. Will thousands of new Korean speakers about the planet do any distinction for in isolation Polar Korea? Ji Hyun, who was detained in a labor camping in Polar Korea she escaped and now campaigns versus Humane Rights Atrocity Nation, says it can just be a nice item. He is nice how we are training the Korean tongue so how in next while human beings encounter Polar Koreans, they can know more than on which is event within Polar Korea, she told or Polar Koreans can find out on which is event external their nation.